Most people think an emotional fool is the loud man, the one shouting in the office, the one slamming the door. They point and say, "I would never be like that." They are wrong about him. And they are wrong about themselves. Pause. They are missing the entire point. The quiet fool is far more dangerous. The fool who smiles on the outside while burning on the inside. The fool who says yes while meaning no. The fool who keeps the peace for years and then erupts over a spoon. The fool who confuses kindness with compliance. The fool who mistakes tolerance for strength. The fool who walks into a room full of people and bends himself into a shape he was never designed to hold. That fool is ruinous. That fool breaks homes silently. That fool loses fortunes quietly. That fool teaches his children to apologize for having a spine. Here is the truth the comfortable never sit with. An emotional fool is not a person who feels. Pause. An emotional fool is a person who is driven. Let that distinction settle in your chest for a moment. Because this single misunderstanding is the distance between a life of quiet power and a life of recurring wreckage. A feeling is not the problem. Feelings are the dashboard of a living mind. They light up. They warn. They signal. They are not the engine. They are the gauge. The problem begins the moment the dashboard starts driving the car. Now, before we walk any further, I want you to consider a number. Cartographers of the human soul have placed their best estimates in books that line library shelves. But we can be honest, without a textbook. Almost every regret a human being carries was written in the 90 seconds after a feeling showed up and before reason sat down. A bad email sent in a flash of wounded pride, a marriage cracked open by a word flung in a moment of fatigue, a career sidelined by fury over a comment, a fortune lost in the fever of a market that was already showing its top. A friendship ended over a sentence spoken in the wrong tone at the wrong hour. We do not regret the feeling. Feelings are weather. We regret what we did inside the storm. And so the question that will rearrange your life is this. Quiet now. What if the feeling was never meant to drive the car? That single reframe is the thesis of everything that follows. Your emotion is not your master. It is your messenger. And the moment you learn to read the messenger instead of being ruled by the messenger, you step into the truest form of power available to a human being. Read it once. Memorize it. We will return to it again and again. But for 90 seconds longer, I want us to look honestly at the failure. The default behavior of the human animal is to react. A stimulus arrives. A nerve fires. A gland pours. The body moves. This is how a deer survives a forest. It is not how a man governs a kingdom. The hidden cause is not the trigger. The hidden cause is the absence of a small, quiet room between the trigger and the response. There should be a space, a pause, a breath, a gate. Most people sleepwalk past the gate. They never even know it is there. The cost is staggering. Listen to the cost. Think, for one quiet minute, what your last 10 years would look like if every decision you made inside a strong feeling had been put on a shelf for a single night. What opportunities would still be in your hands? What money would still be in your account? What friends would still be in your circle? What peace would still be living in your home? The cost is incalculable, and it is paid in lives we could have lived. But here is the promise of this hour. The inner shift you are about to receive is not a personality transplant. It is not positive thinking. It is not stoic rigidity. It is the ancient art of placing yourself back behind the wheel whenever a feeling tries to climb into the driver's seat. And the moment you install that habit, your life changes in a way words can only begin to describe. Let us begin. There is an old saying in the cabins of wise men, "You are not the storm. You are the shore. You are not the wave. You are the lighthouse standing in front of the wave. You are not the anger. You are the eye that watches the anger arrive across the water." Most people forget this. When the feeling shows up, they mistake it for themselves. They say, "I am angry," as if anger has now become their name. They say, "I am afraid," as if fear has now become their house. They fuse. They merge. They lose the kingdom of self to the brigand of mood. History remembers Marcus Aurelius. He ruled the largest empire on earth at the age of 40. Barbarians pressed the borders. Plague swept the cities. His generals lost battles. His wife died young. His children were taken by sickness one after another. Pause. And every night after the day of empire, he sat in his tent and wrote this to himself. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. He was not denying his feelings. He was refusing to be defeated by them. He kept the throne. Imperfectly, quietly, daily. He kept the throne. The lesson applied to your Monday morning is this. When the feeling arrives, you do not greet it as yourself. You greet it as a visitor. I see you, anger. Come in. Sit down. You are not the owner of this house. That single shift in posture shifts us everything. Pause in your week today and practice this. The next time a strong feeling arrives, name it a visitor. Speak it out loud if you have to. Visitor on the threshold, you will feel a strange, almost holy relief. That relief is the return of your sovereignty. Reclaim the throne of your own mind. Now, here is the next truth. Here is the rule that decides empires. There is a distance. It is wide as a breath. It is small as a heartbeat. It is the gap between being struck and striking back. Most people mistake a strong response for a sign of strength. Pause. History says the opposite. History says the strongest men on earth have been the slowest to speak. Abraham Lincoln held the Union together with a hand that shook from grief. His son died. His wife was carried from room to room by waves of mourning. Generals sent him letters dripping with contempt. Newspapers called him a baboon and a clown. Even his closest allies thought him weak. And what did he do? He paused. He read the letter twice. He set it down. He walked to the window. He watched the river. He returned. And only then did he write the reply that changed the country. A pause is not a pause from strength. A pause is the source of strength. It is the blade being sharpened before the swing. It is the architect drafting the blueprint before the skyscraper rises. You can practice the pause today, tonight, tomorrow morning. This is not theory. This is something you can do in the next hour. Begin with the 5-second rule. When a sharp word arrives at your ear, do not speak for 5 seconds. When a sharp text lights up your phone, do not type for 5 seconds. When a feeling hits your chest like a fist, count slowly to 5 before you move. 5 seconds will save your marriage. 5 seconds will save your fortune. 5 seconds will save the friendship you cannot replace. 5 seconds is the blade you sharpen before the swing. Now, here is a third rule. There is a sentence psychology has confirmed over decades of careful study. The act of giving a feeling a precise name reduces its grip by half. But here's the truth behind the science, and it is older than the laboratory. The naming is the taming because the naming returns the throne. There was a man in the corner of a workshop in New Jersey, Thomas Edison. He tried and failed 10,000 times to make a light bulb that would burn. 10,000. In nearly every public room he entered, he was the butt of every joke. Reporters called him a fraud. Colleagues called him a clown. Did he let the ridicule drive him home? No, he did something far more interesting. He sat down with a small notebook. He named each failure. He numbered it. He wrote what it had taught him. He filed it under asset acquired. He did not become his defeat. He became the archivist of his defeat. And the man who kept the file of his failures became the father of modern light. You can do this today, this hour. When you encounter a moment of distress, name it precisely. Say to yourself, this is frustration at not being seen. Say, this is the sting of being talked past. Say, this is the grief of an old wound being touched by an unfamiliar hand. The naming is the taming. Pause. What is unnamed owns you. What is named becomes an instrument in your hand. Now here is a fourth truth, and it is the one most grown adults have never once considered. Every adult carries a private map. The map lists the specific stimuli that reliably flip the switch. The boss who used a tone you heard as a child. The friend who made a joke that sounded like one you heard at 12. The spouse who phrased a request the way your father used to. A quiet map, buried, living, pulling strings from below the floor. Most people stumble from trigger to trigger without ever pausing to read the map. And they wonder why they keep losing the same battle on the same Tuesday. Andrew Carnegie once observed that the most profitable hour of his life was the hour he spent writing down every reason a man had for refusing to do business with him. He did not do it from resentment. He did it from clarity. He turned his wounds into navigation charts. Tonight, take 30 minutes. Sit with a pen and a page. Write the heading. The places I lose myself, and under it list every trigger you can name. The tones, the phrases, the rooms, the faces, the headlines, the memories. Read it back to yourself in the morning. A map you carry is no longer a trap. It is a tool. Now here is the fifth rule. It travels all the way back to the ancient Greeks. The ancient Greeks, who wrote more about the soul than almost any civilization, called it the second sober cup. They would pour the wine, drink it once, and then pour a small second cup and look at it. They were not afraid of the first impulse. They simply refused to confuse the first impulse with the final word. Walt Disney lost the rights to his first character. He was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. His first cartoon studio went bankrupt. A contractor tried to cheat him out of his royalties. A board of bankers, in his darkest winter, told him his idea for a park would never work. Through all of it, he never let a major decision be made on the day it was born. He insisted on the second cup, the midnight review. The cold eye test. You can install this tomorrow. Begin with the 24-hour rule. No major decision in the heat of feeling. Not a resignation. Not a reply. Not a purchase. Not a public sentence. 24 hours, even when the moment screams. The moment screams because the moment wants a driver. You are about to demote the moment and promote the morning. Now, here is the sixth and final rule, and it is the one that makes the other five live. The first five principles do not live unless they are practiced, and practice is not a heroic thing. Practice is a small, daily, almost unglamorous thing. Every morning, before the world has had its first cup of coffee with you, take 90 seconds. Watch the breath. Notice the weather inside the chest. Name what you feel. Decide who you will be for the day. Every evening before the lights go down, take 3 minutes. Audit the day. Where did I let the feeling drive? Where did I pause in time? Where did I name it? Where did I fail to name it? This is the muscle being trained, the blade being sharpened, the brick being laid, one small daily brick stacked upon another, upon another, upon another. A sovereign is not born. A sovereign is built, one small session at a time. Now, the master principle. Behind every one of these principles lives one inner force. It is older than books. It is older than empires. It is older than philosophy itself. It is the willingness to govern yourself. The person you cannot rule, you cannot lead. The mind you cannot still, you cannot use. The house you cannot order, you cannot offer to anyone else. What all of these rules share is not willpower. Willpower burns out in a furnace of pressure. What they share is the quiet daily decision to keep the throne. To sit back on the throne of your own soul each morning, and again each night, and again the morning after that. You do not need bigger emotions. You need a bigger self. And a bigger self is built by 1,000 small returns to the throne. Now, here is the truth. Let us turn the lens from the day to you. Personal, just for a moment, just for the soul. You've spent years comparing yourself, comparing the pace to your neighbor's pace, comparing the quiet of your Tuesday to the highlight reel of someone else's Sunday, comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Comparison is the thief that robs you of joy and clouds your mind. You have spent years waiting for someone outside of you to confirm that you are enough. A title, a round of applause, a nod, a number on a screen. Validation begins within. The world is a poor mirror. The world reflects what you bring to it. You are the center of your universe. Never forget it. Not the center of someone else's stage. Not a supporting character in another person's story. You were not placed on this earth to be a footnote in another human being's memoir. But here is the seat you have been ignoring, the kingdom you have been surrendering. You must reclaim the throne of your own mind. There is a chair. It has been empty. Strangers have been walking into your mind uninvited. He said, she said, the market said, the news said, the algorithm said. You let them sit. And so your mind has been a boarding house run by every wind that passed. Before the world believes in you, you must believe in yourself. And that belief is not a feeling. It is a posture. It is a daily return. It is the practice of the throne. You are the sovereign of your own mind. Nothing more, nothing less. Now here is the closing path. Listen carefully. Listen slowly. 3 short lines. They are the identity decision you are walking out of this room with. Say them aloud with me. Stop reacting. Start governing. Reclaim your throne. Say them once more, slower. Stop reacting. Start governing. Reclaim your throne. This is not a slogan. It is a posture. It is the posture of the sovereign. And the future, the one already unfolding because of the choice you are making right now in this seat, looks like this. It looks like a man who can hear a hard truth without flinching. A woman who can receive a sharp word without striking back. A friend who can sit in a difficult room and bring peace into it instead of taking heat out of it. A leader who can absorb the worst news and still make a clear decision. A parent who can look at a frightened child and lower the heartbeat of the room. It looks like a person whose first instinct is the sovereign one, whose silence is more powerful than someone else's noise, whose name, when spoken, comes with a calm. It looks like a life where the feelings arrive, but the feelings do not drive. A life where the messenger is read, not obeyed. A life where the dashboard lights up and the driver is still you. That life is yours if you decide it now, not tomorrow, now. And so I leave you with the sentence I asked you to memorize near the top. Your emotion is not your master. It is your messenger. Hear it again in this room. Carry it as a coat. A sovereign is not a person who never feels. A sovereign is a person who never lets a feeling drive the car. An emotional fool is not a person who feels. An emotional fool is a person who is driven. Read both lines in the quiet of the morning you are about to enter. Read them again before the argument. Read them again before the message. Read them again before the next decade of your life begins. The messenger has arrived. The message belongs to you. The decision belongs to you. The throne belongs to you. Reclaim the throne of your own mind.